when they beat women and children.
Yeah. Oh,
like,
Alden Smith.
I'm just done with this, man. I wish the next CBA, I hope to God, they take care of those two things. It's been an elephant in the room for 10 or 15 years of my adult life, and I am tired of hearing about it. So tired of hearing about it. I'm sorry for the rant, guys, but it's just...
Rem, you should be honored.
LA,
you just got to experience a whole new rant by Jay. Like usually it's like a couple things to set him off. Yeah. This is a new one. Like, you should feel honored, man.
Thanks, man. It makes total sense, man. We're over it, man.
I mean, are you a baseball fan? Are you?
Yes.
Okay, so perfect example. Remember when Roger Clemens went and was snitched on everyone, and he used HGH to get bigger, not just rehab? And he could. Oh, Andy Pettitte did it. Andy Pettitte used HGH to rehab his elbow to get back to where he was, not to get better from where he was. Andy Pettitte did it the right way, and he used HGH to get his elbow back so he could throw because he wanted to still play. Yeah. And that was perfect example for Jay's thing is you rehab it to get it back where you were, not to go ahead and make it so you're 10 levels above. Yeah. That's the point he was making, and I had to throw that in there. I know it's baseball, but it's a perfect example. Even though Roger Clemens is a dirty snitch.
Look, and I don't hate on baseball players for it either. Like, you get hit by a 90-mile-an-hour pitch and have it rip your muscle, bruise it, and then tell me that and baseball's another one. Like, you're supposed to play 6, 7, 8 games in a week sometimes? Like, come on.
Doubled, too, in one day. 18 innings.
Where have people's minds gotten that all of a sudden we've decided that, look, I knew Johnny from the time he was 5, but once Johnny hit high school, suddenly his genetics changed to where he was superhuman. Hell, Superman blessed him with some skills. It makes no sense. Like, they've lost their minds because for some reason, somewhere down the road, years ago, we were told those are bad people. And the actual bad people get to walk freely and do whatever the hell they want. Makes zero sense.
You know what, though? That wasn't a rabbit hole. That was a whole mountain collapse there. So we got to go ahead and get back on track there to the preview. So I mentioned my favorite players, like Natrone Means. And, of course, I love Junior Seau as well. But I got to ask you, if you had to pick 2 players in Packers history without Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre, I got to ask you, one player offensive, one player defensive. Who would you pick?
Defense, I'll go with Reggie White. Offense, I'm going to go with Robert Brooks. Or is it Robert Brooks? Robert Brooks, receiver.
Which one, number 87 or 86? 86 was Antonio Freeman, 87 was Brooks.
Brooks. I want to go with Brooks. Okay. Freeman, too. Good, I like Brooks a little bit more. Because
Freeman was good, but Brooks made those tough catches.
Yeah. No, that was Favre's guy. That's why. I'll go with
those. Good man. All right.
Oh, yeah.
So we mentioned earlier that LA's still 3-5, so they're 3-5, correct? 3-4, 3-5. Right, okay, so they got a late bye just like Green Bay, so they have some time to heal up a little bit more, and other teams will be taking some byes along the way as well.
Yeah,
but you guys are only 2 games back.
Yeah,
we discussed this earlier. You guys have a shot at the division title, wild card. The AFC is not deep this year. Like the NFC, I just read a tweet from Kyle Brandt that says there's 7 or 8 teams in the NFC that could win the conference for that and not shock me. He said there's 1 or 2 teams in the AFC, and that's it. So it's completely open. So do you think they make a run? Like the back 8 games, do you think they're able to make a run and they play Kansas City again?
Yeah. Able
to kind of get one more oomph on them, and Kansas City's got a tough couple games coming up. Minnesota this weekend. So
without Mahomes, I mean, this is our time to catch up with them. The Raiders they're a little bit improved, but they haven't really put on a streak.
Yeah, they're an 8-8 team. They're not nothing to.
But the rest of the AFC, I mean, you got the Texans, the Colts. They're all like in the same level, like 4-3, 5-2. You got the Bills that are
just above average, and that's it. Yeah. And Chargers went playoffs last year, same roster.
Right. It's just we just kind of went off to a slow start as always. Injuries kind of took our team. I think the Patriots are still like the front runner in the AFC, and then the Texans, the Ravens.
I feel like the Ravens might humble them this weekend, Rem. I feel like Lamar. Yeah, I really do. I feel like Lamar Jackson is a totally different athlete than they faced, and with his speed, I don't know if you're going to have because Dante Hightower moved from outside linebacker to inside linebacker to go ahead and because he lost his step.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he's going to be able to keep up with Lamar on a QB option keep to go ahead and go out to the outside and gain up 20 yards. I mean, and his throwing has gotten so much better.
Yeah, he's definitely improved since last season and since the playoffs when we play them. His passing is a lot improved. So let's see what the Ravens bring to the Patriots.
I mean, but yeah, AFC's wide open. Like I said, do you think the Chargers can make it? Do you think,
in
your mind,
just make a run if they get their offense together, they cut down turnovers, and in the fourth quarter? I mean, most of the games are decided by one possession, 3 points or less, maybe 7 points. So it's a matter of just finishing games for the Chargers and just making sure that guys stay healthy. If the guys can come back healthy, we can get Derwin James back. We can go on a run, but I'm not going to count on it.
Jay's got some news. What is it? Who is that? Rodgers?
He's landed.
My wife just sent me that. It's on Aaron Rodgers or a Facebook story. It's Aaron Rodgers getting off the plane. And it says, "I'm going back to Kelly."
Yeah, man. He's from the Cali area, man. So I mean, you got to think he's going to have some friends and family in the stands.
Wait, he does live in San Diego in the off season, right?
Yeah, I believe doesn't Danica also have a place there?
Yeah.
Sorry, Graham. I think this might be a home game for the Packers. I'm sorry.
It's okay. We saw the Steelers the last home game, so I was at that game.
Also, you mentioned Devontae Adams earlier. I don't know if you saw the video of him at practice today. Did you see it?
I did not see it. I was at work the whole day.
I think he's going to be a go. So he was running along, and the next thing you know, so his right foot with the right toe is the one where he had that turf toe problem.
Yeah.
He jumped up, just jogging along, and leapfrogged one of his coaches, just hurdled him, and then landed on the bad foot. And I'm like, yeah, he's playing.
Good to go. Yeah, he's going.
Yeah, just you don't plan off your bad foot, land on it, just keep jogging like nothing happens. I'm like, okay, I understand why the list is questionable. There's no probable anymore, so I think you'll see Adams come back.
This is kind of a side note here, but Dave and I discuss this a lot. We love the way this new regime is handling guys' injuries and the importance they place on bringing guys back based on the fact that they were already confident. Like, they hadn't won crap when he happened. That was like, week 4 that happened against Philly when he had that 100? Okay. So they were 3-1. There was no reason to be all cocky going in, like – and so they held him out, I think, an extra week or two just to make sure. I want to know, what do you feel about how the Chargers treat guys? Do they seem to rush guys back, or do you feel like they're always kind of looking ahead, like we'd rather have that guy on a playoff push than a couple of extra games in a kind of meaningless regular season?
I think if a guy's banged up, I think they have enough trust in the depth to just plug them in. I think they give enough time for them to rest and heal up. I don't think they rush guys back because, I mean, in our minds, we have more of a complete team in terms of depth. But, I mean, it's not showing on the record. But in terms of, like, long-term stability, I think we're not in a rush to bring guys back.
Okay, I want to get on your side when it comes to this now because – like all winning records don't always tell a full story of what's really going on. Losing records don't all mean the same thing either. And the Chargers are one of those teams that they don't really get blown out. Like
they fight every game.
Right, they have a losing record, but like I don't know how many seasons now, Rem, I can recall where the Chargers have been like 3 or 4 games under 500. But literally, are -4 in point differential. Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like they're barely they average losing a game by like a quarter of a point. Like, I know that's not the truth, but like it just.
I mean, it comes down to the fourth quarter. I mean, the last 7 minutes, the last 5 minutes of a game. That's our game, really. It's really a battle of can we seal the deal or not, or. Can we stop third? Can we get off the field on third down on defense? I mean, it's just that's been our story the whole decade, to be honest. We've only had the playoffs twice this year. I mean, twice this decade. So I mean, but throughout the whole decade, it's a lot of close games. Even though we're like maybe 7-9, 6-10, we're still competitive. We have an offense, but sometimes we don't have the defense to kind of shut it down.
Well, you know what? Let's go ahead and close this thing out. Last question.
Sure.
What's your prediction for Sunday? What's the final score, and who is your MVP of the game?
Ooh, good one. I'm gonna have to go with the score in the 20s. I don't think it's gonna be a shootout as we both think, because I think both defenses are gonna surprise both the offenses. But I think the quarterbacks are gonna put on a show. I think both teams are gonna have trouble in the red zone. So I'm gonna go with 24-21. Right now, I mean, the Packers know how to finish games, so I'm going to go Packers now for now. 24-21 Packers.
Okay, and then doesn't matter which side, which team, who's your MVP for like a certain player?
For the Packers, I would say Aaron Jones. For the Chargers, I would think Joey Bosa. He's just turning it up a notch every week.
Okay.
So
after that game that Joe or Nick just had with that defensive player of the week, I feel like Joey might step it up and try to get up his little brother.
And with Aaron Jones, I mean, he's just improving every week. Just that big breakout run last week against the Chiefs, that's been a Chargers Achilles heel this whole season, stopping the running back, stopping them out of the backfield. So he will pose a lot of problems for the Chargers defense. So we'll just see how they respond. And to be honest, we'll see how the Chargers offense responds, because they have a new coordinator. So, I mean, I can't really put anything on them until I see something, you know?
Well, Rem, don't be mad at me, buddy. The biggest factor to me is Derwin James being out again. The general of the field being out, and then I saw Teamer is doubtful, and he is the safety. He usually came in for Derwin, so with the thinness there, I think Rodgers going to exploit it, and I'm going to say 33-21 Green Bay, especially with the Packers fans coming in the home crowd this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't hate me for it.
You're good.
MVP, God, I don't want to give it to him because he's going to come back. But Casey Hayward's going to be on Adams, so I am going to go MVS. I think he has 2 touchdowns and over 100 yards.
Nice.
I think with all the attention, if Adams does come back, I think it pays attention to him, and they maybe move a safety over the top. And MVS, with his speed, he can get one-on-one, and Rodgers, he knows how to throw a good ball. So I think Packers take it 33-21.
Oh, there's a lot to get into my thought process here on this one. Kansas City and the Chargers, I had originally in this week 8 to 13 stretch where they lost. They went 2-3, and I had these 2 games as a loss.
Wow.
Then the whole Kansas City thing happened, and then I'm looking at it and I'm trying to. I want to pick everything. I want to keep this thing rolling, but I have to be the lone wolf here. I think the Packers are going to drop this one. And I don't think it's going to be one where I just think it's got one of these feels where Phillips never beaten the Packers, right? Never beaten Aaron Rodgers. They're at home. Packers fans are going to travel well. They've had a 4-game stretch. They've won 7. They're 7-1. Devontae's coming back. It seems like everything's perfect, right?
Right.
I feel like this is that NBA game where LeBron comes back, and it's a pretty even matchup, but they end up losing because you got to get LeBron integrated. Everything's just a little off. It's not terrible, but it's just off enough and I think they're losing this one.
Are you calling a Week 9 game 1?
24-21, man. I think the Packers are going to lose